Hello and Happy New Year. Hi, my name is Michael Fleming, and this is the Vision Quest, a life mapping experience. In less than an hour, we're going to map out your entire life in a very unique experience on one sheet of paper. So, if you haven't already, we're going to have you click on the link and you can download the actual print version of the life map that we're going to be using inside of Vision Quest. So you should be able to go out to Kingstreets.com and search in this particular section and find the printed version of the life map. And my name is Michael Fleming. I'm the founder and executive of Kingstreets and the Vision Quest and the life mapping experience. So this is what the life map actually looks like. This one simple diagram, well, for the most part, with all its parts, is in less than an hour. It's going to map out your entire life story. So this is how this is going to work. I'm going to explain to you first how the sections are set up and what we call the life map sections. And so the way it's actually structured is at the very bottom. We're going to start at the bottom and we're going to talk about your life story. And then we're going to talk about the five sections that are here. These are going to end up being the five chapters of your life. We're going to talk about where you are now, the here and now of your life. And then we're going to talk about your life goals and dreams. And then we're going to take the five circles to the left and we're going to break those down into individual pieces and parts. And then we're going to take the five circles to the right and they're going to define how you manage your days and nights. And there's going to be some additional pieces at the end. So there's some various instructions. And for those who've never done this before, then of course, I'll try to pace it out to give you time to actually look at and understand all the different pieces and components of how the Vision Quest life mapping exercise works. So again, we're going to kind of look at these pieces and parts. So we're going to start at the very bottom of the life map, your parents and guardians. And so what you're looking at is at the very bottom of this, there you're going to take the very bottom circle. So hopefully by now you print it out. You can stop this if you haven't done it already. And we actually have this in software as well, so you can actually fill this out online if you like as well. But at the very bottom, we're going to take the very bottom circle and we're going to split it in half. And so in the process of splitting it in half, we are the sum of our parts, right? At least for me, I am absolutely the sum of my parts. To tell the story right, I have to talk about all the great and wonderful people that have come in my life and helped me have a better understanding of how to do certain things in my life and make, fairly good decisions. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at this bottom section. You're going to split it in half. And what this section is dedicated to is good or bad, happy or sad. Who are the people that raised you? That's what's going in this bottom section. So if you like, you can put your mother's name on one side, your father's name on the other side, or you can just simply put the names of the people who helped raise you as a child. And understanding that everyone was not raised in the same type of situations or circumstance. And the thing about this entire exercise is personal, it's private, it's confidential. You never have to share it with anyone. We love when people do, and love when share with their testimony, but there's absolutely no pressure to do that. And so, but here at the bottom section, that very bottom section, this is the one section that you may not know all the details about. You just experienced it. And so, for the most part, who raised you, good or bad, happy or sad. If you want to, you can put their names or just kind of put general information. That's the other thing about this entire exercise. These questions are intended to be very general, but at the same time, hopefully get you thinking through the specific details of the experiences that you've had in your life. You are 100% the person behind your eyes, and this unique exercise is going to explore that. So here's the things that we're looking at. So in the midst of this system, that's the one part of this entire exercise that you may not know all the details about. But those five chapters, or what we call the five circles above this, are going to be the five chapters of your life. We're going to take your age, your life timeline, and we're going to break it into five. We're going to divide your age by five, and that's going to give us five chapters of your life. This is the longest part of the instructions that you're about to see. And so it may take a second to kind of get your bearings on what information we're asking for. So I'm going to go ahead and show that to you now. So obviously at the bottom, quite possibly you may only have just your mother's father's name, but you may have all the people who helped raise you as a child or helped just raise you when you were young. So the 5 chapters of your life is what we call in the next section. So that's this section here, these 5 circles here. And so the way this works is that I'm going to have you write some information above and outside of all 5 of these circles. All 5 of these circles. So what you're looking at is you're going to go to this chart that we have right here. This chart, this is the way this works, is that you're going to do, the first thing is you're going to find your age range, your closest age range. So if you're 15 to 20, if you're under 15, you can still use this chart, but you just may not have the 5th section. So, but if you're 15 to 20, this is going to be your age range. If you're 21 to 25 here, and 26 to 30, and so on, 31 to 35, and it's going to divide your age by 5, and it's going to give you what we call the 5 sections or the 5 chapters of your life. If you're 36 to 40, and we're going to use this as an example here in a second, we're going to use that age range. If you're 41 to 45, 46 to 50, 51 to 55, 56 to 60, 61 to 65, 66 to 70, or 71 to 75, or 75 to 80 plus. These are, you're going to find your age range here on the left. So that's the first thing you're going to do is find your age range. Then that's going to tell you what to put above and outside of these 5 circles, the 5 chapters of your life is what we call them. So I'll give you a second. Find your age range. You'll see the individual sections. If you want to write them down or memorize them, because you're going to put them on you're going to put them back on the sheet. And I'll show you what that looks like here. So this is just an example. You got the actual life map itself. You've got your chapters. You're going to write you're going to write your timeline above those circles, and I'll show you here. So let's say if you're 39 years old. If you're 39 years old, yours would have been set, or if you were between 33 and 39. Your age range would be 0 to 8, 9 to 16, 17 to 24, 25 to 32, 33 to 39 years old. Okay, so now you put your age range. If you're not this age, if you're younger than this or older than this, you should have a different age range here at the top. All right, so this is how this works. So the way this system is set up, I'm going to ask you 3 different sets of questions. And you're going to write the answers in each one of these chapters. So if you're someone who writes big, you might want to print this out in 2 sheets of paper. Or if you're doing it online, then you can type in as much as you want to type. But if you're printing this out, you may want to print out 2 sheets of paper, or you can write on the back, or you can get a separate sheet of paper and put your notes on there. Again, this is personal, private, confidential. You never have to share this, but we love when you do. And so here's the thing, is that the first question that I'm going to ask you, and I want you to write the answer in each one of these chapters. Is one question, but you should have 5 chapters of answers, or 5 sections of answers. So again, here's the age list. You should have picked your age list, and that's what should be above it. And then we're going to go back to the question. Let me ask you here. Where did you physically live in each one of these chapters, in each one of these sections of your life? Where did you physically live? It can be, and I'm asking very generally, but you can put as specific as you want to. What town, city, state, country that you were told that you lived in these different areas or time periods of your life? Or what areas or where places and locations did you live during these chapters of your life? And if you lived in more than one place in one of the sections, you can put down all the multiple sections. For me, myself, between the ages of 9 and 16, I lived in 4 different states. And so you can put all 4 different states. You can put 4 different cities. You can put 4 different addresses. It's up to you as a general or specific that you want to be. But keep in mind, we have 2 other questions that you're going to write some answers, additional answers into these spaces. So I'll give you a couple of seconds there, in a couple of minutes actually, and you can stop the video and you can actually write in here what you did, where did you live during this time period of your life. Okay, so now we should have our parents or guardians or the people who helped raise us down in the bottom circle. You should now have one of the questions answered. Where did you live during this time period of your life? And then now the next part, let me go to that. The next second question is, and this is the actual question. So you do not have to write the question down unless you just want to write them down. But this is actually the question. It's got 2 parts to it. So the first part is, where'd you live? No, I mean, well, actually, that's what we were just asking. Where'd you live? Option general or specific, actual address, city, town, or state. I'm sorry, that's still the same question. So to just give you an idea of how it would be filled in. And then here, the second question has two parts to it. Where'd you go to school or work in those same chapters of your life? So again, you might have already wrote pretty big, but we want in that same 5 sections of your life, where did you go to school and work? That's what goes also in those 5 sections, what we call the sections or chapters of your life. I'll give you a few minutes to answer those. Where'd you live was the first one. Where'd you go to school and work? Same thing if you went to multiple schools or if you had a lot of jobs like me, then you can put just the main jobs. You don't have to list all of them, or you don't even necessarily have to list all the schools, or if you did school at all. So the first 2 questions were set up to get you thinking about the bigger experiences in your life. Where'd you live? Where'd you go to school and work? Usually those are where you made your friendships, or you connected with people, or that you found yourself disconnected from people. And so then this kind of sets up the larger question. So that's the first 2 questions. The first question, where'd you live? Second question had 2 parts, where'd you go to school and work? But there's a third question that is a bigger, larger question that the first 2 questions sets the stage for. Okay? See, so here's what we're looking for. And this is a personal, private, and confidential. Again, you never have to share, but it's a big question. Good or bad, happy or sad, what are some memories and experiences from in them same sections of your life? Good or bad, happy or sad, what are some memories and experiences in those same chapters of your life? And again, if you write small, then it's probably no problem. You probably have still some room yet left. If you write pretty big, then you've kind of got your own bio and story, and it's probably taking up the space at the bottom. Again, that's okay. You can get an extra sheet of paper, or you can write on the back, or an extra life map. So good or bad, happy or sad, what are some memories and experiences from these chapters of your life? So this, to give you an example, these all 3 of the questions here in each one of the sections. Where'd you live? Where'd you go to school and work? And the final big question, good or bad, happy or sad. So that is, in essence, is what needs to be in each one of those columns. Each one of those sections and chapters. This is a mini bio of your life. So far, we have the kind of outline of your life and experiences of who you are and what I call the person behind your eyes, right? These are the way you viewed the world, experienced the world, sensed the world, kind of took in the overall total experiences. And there is no wrong particular answers to this at all. This is absolutely about the way you experienced your life. So we now have your family history or your guardianship history, and then we have the actual timeline and experiences of your life. And we'll kind of reference back to this at the end as well, and we'll talk about each one of these sections. But we want to come to the middle section. This middle section is your here and now. That's the part that we want to be able to look at. So I want to show you that the here and now, the 86,400. Okay, so I've removed all the other writing, but so this is not a new drawing. This is just to highlight the section in the middle. So the section in the middle, so this is an example of if you already got something written in. But the section in the middle, there are 7 days in a week, 168 hours in a week. There's 1,440 minutes in a day. There are 86,400 seconds in a day. This circle represents your 86,400 seconds in a day. So above this circle, I want you to write 86,400 seconds in a day. So let me show you how that would look. Above and outside of that circle, I want you to write 86,400 seconds. Okay. And then we're only going to ask you one question, just one question. And we want you to put that inside of this circle that's in the middle. And the question is, what are all the things you find yourself thinking about once every 5 minutes, or every 10 minutes, or once an hour, or in an average day, or in the mornings and afternoons and evenings, or even in an average week? What are all the things that you possibly can think of that you can think about, or all the things you were thinking about before you did this exercise? What are the normal things and routines and kind of thought flow that you normally have? There is no limit to what you can write inside of this circle in the middle that represents your here and now, your present. What are your thoughts? What do you find yourself thinking about? That's what goes in this middle circle. Okay, so you have your family history, your 3 questions, in your lifetime lines in the 5 chapters of your life, and now you got the things that you find yourself thinking about once every 5 minutes or once an hour, or an average day. The rest of your map should still be blank, just as it is on the screen. Okay, so now we're going to skip the 10 arcing circles and we're going to go completely to the top. And so what we call the future in 2 parts. All right, so your future in 2 parts. So I removed all the other sections just to concentrate on the future. So the very top circle here, we're going to take that circle and we're going to split it in half. Split in half. You can do it horizontally or vertically just as long as it's split in half. But for the sake of here, we did it horizontally. All right, so here's how this works. We're going to take the future and we're going to divide it. This is symbolic of the future. So we're going to take that circle and we're going to split it in half. And in one half of that circle, I want you to dream and dream big. And I want you to plan big. Myself, the team, Kingstreets, we're 100% dedicated to helping you accomplish your biggest dreams and goals and your passion. And to explore those things, to live your best life and to have your best life. So in one half of that circle, I want you to put what they call your bucket list or your ultimate wish list of things that you'd like to see or do or accomplish in your lifetime. So if you're young in your teens and 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s. So what would you like to accomplish in your lifetime? And dare to dream. Dream big. All the things that you can think of. Put those things in your ultimate wish list, in your bucket list. Okay, so in the bottom half of the circle, one thing about us is that we're very practical in how we try to help people, both in life coaching, career coaching, business coaching, just, as far as just helping people explore their best selves and their best life. But the reality is that we can't just go for all the big sky things when we have to deal with the things that are on the ground. So the bottom half of this circle is dedicated to the goals, the short-term, immediate goals that we have to take on. So the way this is set up in the bottom half, what we want you to do is to make a list of the things that you need to accomplish in the next 15 days, the next 30 days, 45 days, 60 days. What are the things that you need to accomplish in the next 3 to 12 months? This is your short-term, immediate goals and dreams that you'd like to see accomplished. What we call birthday to birthday. What are the dreams and goals that you'd like to accomplish? One more time around the sun. So even though we're not showing it here, all the other section, the past sections and the present section should be filled in. We'll show you that here. So your map should look similar to what you're seeing on the screen. There really is no wrong way. So if you figure out another way to use the map, feel free. And so, but right now, in the very bottom, your good or bad, happy or sad, your parents or your guardians who helped raise you. Then here you got the 3 primary questions: where'd you live, as far as the 5 chapters of your life, where'd you go to school and work, and good or bad, happy or sad, what are some experiences and moments from these chapters of your life. And then in the middle, the things you find yourself thinking about once every 5 minutes or once an hour. And then at the very top, your bucket list, your ultimate wish list. And then split into half, and then the other side is what do you need to accomplish in the next 15 to 60 days or the next 3 to 12 months, year to year, birthday to birthday. So you should have the 10 arcing circles empty. But we're going to start with the circles to the left. We're going to find out what is your number one goal. And so we're going to come back to the map. And the very first circle to the left, it's important that it goes into this circle. Out of all the things that you wanted to accomplish in your future, both short term or long term, out of all those things that you saw yourself accomplishing, what would be the number one goal that you like to have or do? And we're calling this the little bubble or pathway that you would like to have. We want you to put that number one goal in the first circle to the left. The very first circle to the left. And it can be short term or long term. It can be either one. But what is the number one goal that you'd like to have? In the next 4 circles, we'd like you to put the top 4, and it was going to end up being the top 5 altogether. But what are the top 4 goals that you have? And put each one in its own bubble and in its own path. They can be in exact order where it can be all long term, short term, or you can mix them together. It's entirely up to you. But if you had to pick the top 5 things that you'd like to accomplish, either short term or immediate or in lifetime, what would those 5 things be? So on this left hand side, this is now dedicated to your top 5 goals and dreams. But it's important that the number one goal is in that first bubble to the left. First pathway to the left. Okay, now while we're still on this left hand side and looking at our goals and dreams, we're going to add something additional on the lines, on the pathways to our dreams and goals. What I want you to do on next to each one of those goals is to put when would you like to have that a goal accomplished by. Because a goal without a timeline is just a wish. So the idea is in this process, in this life mapping experience, is to try to get the larger goals to be broken down into the smaller goals. Little things make big things. So it's important that we do the little things. And planning is not about perfection. It's about preparation. And preparation allows us to win more than we lose. And that's what we're trying to do. And so it's not about, the idea of trying to think that everything has to be perfect. We're trying to make things as manageable in smaller pieces as possible. So when would you like to have that goal accomplished by? Is it every day? Every week? Is it by the end of this year, by the time of your birthday? Is it by some milestone in the future, short term or long term? When would you like to have that goal accomplished by? Next to each one of those goals. Okay, so at this point, when you have this filled in, this is pretty much how your map should look. You've got your guardian and parent section. You've got the timeline of your life, and you've got the 3 important questions. You've got what you think about once every 5 minutes and once an hour in your 86,400 seconds. You've got your future split up between your long term and your lifetime. Your long term and short term. And then you've got the top 5 goals over here on the left, and you've got your timeline. So you now should have the 5 circles to the right should be blank. And so we're getting ready to cover that section. We're looking at your number one thought. That's what we're getting ready to explore, and we're going to look at your here and now. All right, so we're going to come back to the middle section of the things that you find yourself thinking about once every 5 minutes or once an hour. Out of that entire list of things that you put in there, what would you say is your number one thought of those things? That's all we want, is the number one thought. We don't want 2, 3, 4, 5. We just want the number one thought, and I want you to put that first thought is important, that you put it in the first circle to the right. The very first circle to the right. What is the number one thing you find yourself thinking about once every 5 minutes or once an hour? Okay. Now the other 4 circles, they're going to be something slightly different. There are 168 hours in a week. What I want you to put in those next 4 circles are the top 4 places or locations that you spend your time in an average week or in an average month. What are the top physical 4 places you spend your time in an average week or an average month? Is it home? Is it work? it school? Is it church or a place of worship? Is it at a friend's? Is it at families? Or are you out shopping or eating or dining? Or, I mean, just to give you an idea of what are those top 4 places. And if you don't actually go a lot of places, but you're pretty much always in one location or always at home, what are the different rooms that you spend your time in an average week or an average month? You are the person behind your eyes. If we did nothing else, your map, or this, which acts as a roadmap of who you are inside, is what this map already, in this shorter time period, has already filled in. And it gives us, the goal of this map is to give us perspective, is to kind of put things in context. I mean, there's a lot of different applications to what this map can do simply by having this outline of your life and of your experiences that you've had in your life. But this map is not intended to work by itself. It's just a guide. It's just giving us assistance or giving us insight. So there are a couple of more things that we're going to have you add or take a look at on your map, because just this content by itself gives us the ability to communicate the experiences as a whole that we see ourselves historically or from our past view of things to where we are now, to where we want to go, to the different, priorities that we have in our lives and different circumstances and situations that we have in our lives. So, but on this additional map, we have on here, and I want to show you here, we have on here a map of the United States. So if you're doing this outside of the United States, then your country, there's an example of what your country's map would look like. And then we have the globe. And so I'm quick to tell people that the ship does not dictate the ocean. You have to have an understanding of how the kind of the world sways and the way you sway inside of it. But I'm also always trying to let people know that the universe thinks that you're important. The universe does. Otherwise, you would not be here, right? And so the idea is that we need each other. And so the whole thing around it is that when we look at it, and here I'm saying it here, that the universe needs your presence, and that there's talents and gifts and just a whole sense of self that is to the benefit of all of us. But at the same time, we want people to be able to live their best life. So the U.S. population currently is 330 million people. There are 7.7 billion people in the world, but there's only one you, and the world and the universe obviously needed you here. So what can be your greatest, asset and contribution and participation? Because in all things, there is no work without co-working, and there is no existing without coexisting. And so the goal is to help people address all these unique experiences that they're having on this map. But there's 2 more things that we're going to have you do, and you won't have to write anything else after this. But I've known my whole life, or at least I've been around enough to understand that you can go faster alone, but you can go further with others. I'm absolutely one of those people who believe that our lives are shared lives, and that it's the main thing is how do we bring out the best in each other so that we can enjoy this wonderful experience of what life has potential to be. And so, but in life we call it support, as far as how we work with each other and collaborate, or just how our sense of how we have to interact with each other in the world. So what I want you to do is, it's not on your page, but this is something that we add in at the end of this experience. And as I was just saying, how we need each other, what this comes down to is I want, in the bottom left hand corner, I want you to add a circle. And if you do not have any room in the bottom left hand side, you can add it to the top, if you like, to the top left, and add a circle called the support circle. Or you can put it back down in the bottom left, and you can add a circle called the support circle. And in that support circle, I want you to write the names or initials of the initials, the names or initials of people who are either living or past, that have always kind of wanted to see you at your best, or hoping that you would have your best life. And the reason that I say living or past, because even for myself, and again, it's just general instructions. My grandmother died in 1993, but yet her voice and spirit lives in me, and everything that she was always wise to try to tell me about every chance you get, share, and just being such a loving person. So I understand that whether people are here with us or not, sometimes their voice and presence is still significant in how we feel the support of our lives. And so even beyond it, so good or bad, happy or sad, who are some people that are in your support circle? And if you feel like you don't have people in your support circle, please check out Kingstreets.com. That's our primary intent, is to help people have the strongest, uh, highest potential support in their lives. And so please draw in, write in, what are some things, living or past, who are people that are in your support circle?
Okay.
So there's one more piece of instruction, and then you don't have to write anymore. And then we're gonna take a little quiz, a little self reflection quiz. So on the person behind your eyes is what I call it, right? See, so on the right hand side, I want you to draw an additional circle. And again, if you don't have space, you can draw it at the top right, and we're gonna call this circle the alone circle. In the word alone is the spell somewhere in there spells the word one, right? So this is the thing about the alone circle. This alone circle is still slightly different than all the other things that you put on the map so far. The alone circle is the alone self. It's whether you're in a crowd and you can feel alone, or when you're by yourself, or just how you kind of process the world internally. And so I call it the alone list. And so I have this thing that I call the alone list. It's all the personal things that I kind of think and process in my head, or just experiences that I do. To give you an example, to kind of get myself centered, or to get myself renewed and restored, or to try to keep myself focused, I read, I write, I pray, I research, I kind of sit outside. I love nature, or I read a book, or I watch documentaries. So I mean, I have my own what I call the alone list. So, but everyone's alone list is not the same. In some cases, doesn't need to be the same. So, what is your alone list? That's what I want you to write in this circle over to the right, or wherever you place the circle, is write down all the things in what I call your alone list that you kind of do that helps you stabilize your life, or for to help you stay centered and grounded, or to find joy in your life. This is called the alone list. This is the last thing that you had to write. So what I have on the screen now is an example of how your map should be filled in, how your Vision Quest life map should be filled in. So for the most part, again, your guardianship or your family as a whole who helped raise you, your 5 chapters, your life, or the 5 sections, and the 3 primary questions, where you are in the moment as far as the things you think about once every 5 minutes or once an hour, your future section, your bucket list, your short-term goals, your top 5 goals, when you want those goals accomplished by, the number one thing you think about, the top 4 locations that you spend your time. And again, you don't have to write anything else, but we want to take a little tour, or help you take a little tour of the experiences that you have and that you put on your life map. And again, this is personal, private, and confidential. You don't have to share, but definitely love when people do. All right, so here's the thing. We're going to start where we left off, and we're going to take a little tour, a little test of self-reflection. So your test, how well do you know yourself? So the way this is set up is, we're going to start where we left off, is on the alone list. Let's say you're having a bad moment. Just even right now at this moment, you're having a bad moment, or you're having a bad day, or bad hour, a bad day, or bad week, a bad couple of weeks, bad couple of months, bad couple of years. It just doesn't seem to be working out. And you're trying everything you can in this alone list to try to give things meaning and significance, or to make things important, or just to keep motivated. But let's say at the end of the day, even for myself, when I've tried everything on my alone list, it's a map, so it's intended to be used to guide and to help me travel, or to resolve some things. Where on your map should you go if you're struggling in your alone list? Where on your map should you travel to try to get some help? And most people would immediately say their support circle. Because sadly, there's a sad fact that over 40% of the people who are over above the age of 35 usually have had at least one parent pass, if not both. And so a lot of people can't go to their family or guardian circle because it just simply is not there. And so, but for those that can, that's great. And, and hopefully that's a strong, stable place to get some, some assistance and support, and realize that there are people who genuinely love you or care for you, or want to see you at your best. But for most of us, we have to come over to our support circle. And so remember, in the support circle, I asked, what are the names or initials of the people that are in your support circle? So let's say they filled out their life map. And so in the process of them filling out their life map, and we ask the same question, who are the people that are in your support circle? Would they have put your name in their support circle? Because what's key is that this is a very unique thing, and why we all created the Kingstreets ideas and concepts is because we want this support circle to be as big as it possibly can. Because if someone's struggling, they don't need to struggle long when it's quite possible there's someone who's willing to lend a hand or lend some support. But at the same time, we've got to be willing to be in each other's support circle. This circle by itself is the one that connects our bridges together and allows us to be able to do it. It is not perfect by any means at all. And I tell people, trust is not an absolute and suspicion is warranted. So that means, in other words, relationships are not managed from exact relationships and friendships and colleagues and different people in our lives and family and friends and all those things in relationships. They're just not managed, and very rarely are they managed in absolutes. And so we have to look at what it takes to really coexist and co-work with each other in our lives. Again, we can go faster alone, but we can go further with others. So the idea is to have that support circle be as significant as necessary to help each person feel the level of accomplishment and success that they need, or joy and love and happiness. All right, so that covers the bottom section. Let's continue the reflection. So now let's go up and look at these 5 chapters of your life. And so in reflection of these, more often than not, we've gone through those 5 chapters through the experience and the perception of our experience. But I want to try to add to that and give you an assignment of something that you may not have done. And so what I would love for you to do is go back and actually research, whether you use Google or whatever means you can to go online, and see if you can actually put in the day you were born and the location that where you were or where you lived in this first section of your life. In other words, the good example is Google the day you were born and the city that you were born in at the same time. And then what you're going to do is that whatever research, online research you're using, browser that you're using, it will come back and show you some of the things and activities that were going on in that city and that town and that country. And maybe that information will give you a unique perspective of the experiences that other people around you were having based on what was going on in that city or town at that time. And I know for me, it's always been such a powerful thing when I first started doing that, to kind of understand what may have been influencing my parents' ability to make decisions or to be able to cover their finances and things during that time period. So it helped me broaden my experience beyond the way that I actually thought I was experiencing those moments in my life. And you can actually do that for all these sections and chapters of your life. Is go back and Google a certain time period in the city or town or state or country that you were in, and see whether those things were having an influence on things and experiences that you were having at that time in your life. And so that's one of the suggestions. And in other videos, we'll explain more about how to analyze your life map. Okay, so now that covers our past section. So let's move up to the middle section, the 86,400 seconds. The way you primarily can analyze this is actually to look to the outsides. And this is why I was saying it's important that the number one goal and the number one thought went into those 2 slots earlier. So the reason why is because what I want you to do is look at your number one goal to the left and your number one thought to the right. Do they match? Are they the same? Or do they relate to each other? Is there a common ground that they have? Because here's the thing about it. Typically, when those 2 things match, your number one goal and your number one thought, is that usually that person is pretty focused on what they want to accomplish and do in their lives. And they're trying to find their best way to get those things done. But if they don't match, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's a negative thing. It depends on the relationship between those 2 components. Because let me tell you, here's how it works. And this is an example of it. If you took all 5 of your goals, matter of fact, if you took all of your goals from the very top, even all the goals that you put in your total list, and then you looked at the things that you said you think about once every 5 minutes or once an hour, how many of your goals made it into the things that you think about once every 5 minutes or once an hour? It is important that if these are the things that you see for yourself or can imagine for yourself, then we would think that it should be in the thought processes of the things that you do all day. So when you look at it, these four places that you spend your time may tell you more about yourself and what you're doing and how you dedicate yourself to your own change and growth, which is what your goals and dreams represent. But keep in mind, you have a pretty good support circle now in regards to the things that we're trying to put together inside of Kingstreets. And please use it as a resource or find similar things. We're not saying Kingstreets is the end all be all, but we definitely want to make sure that resources and solutions and people and processes and tools and things are available to help you both deal with the short-term immediate circumstances and situations as well as the change that you may see for yourself in your life. And so this is Vision Quest. Again, we have to be just as vigilant about understanding how the world moves and how our country moves and how decisions and things are being made that may impact the quality of life that you desire for yourself and the community and for society as a whole. And so there's going to be a lot of different videos over the next year about how we want to assist with nothing else, providing information and perspective. And so this is Vision Quest. This is your life mapping exercise. I hope this was thoughtful. I hope this is something that was worth kind of as an experience overall. I typically ask people, did the experience help in any way at all? Just for yourself, and that's our basic kind of expectation for it. But beyond this, because instead of just thinking that this is just a single independent tool, the goal of this is to help you establish a 1 to 5 year life plan. So along with what you printed out with your Vision Quest, you should have been able to print out the additional packet, or you're going to be able to use the software, and I'll show you that here in a second. We actually have software for all of this. And then you can actually plan out an entire year. This is our 1 year calendar broken out by seasons or by quarters. And so there's a whole series of classes and workshops that we're going to be having to explain how to use this. But for now, you can put your individual goals and dreams into individual pieces and kind of label what you want to like to see accomplished month by month or season by season or quarter by quarter. And then from here, what is your routines and habits? What are the things that, kind of like what will establish your basic kind of flow for the week? This is the 168 hours of what we call the weekly block schedule. And this is early mornings, 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. Mornings, 6 a.m. to 12 p.m. Afternoons, 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. And the evenings, 6 p.m. to 12 p.m. And so what is your typical schedule? What is your ideal schedule? All those things can actually be mapped out as well. You can always get with someone from our support team or one of our life coaches, or we're looking to partner with the life coaches and therapists and counselors and all those various people to kind of help people, again, live their best life. That's one of our main missions of the collective group and the Kingstreets and the United Community Care Alliance. I know that's the first time I mentioned that, but we're looking to have care alliances across the country where you can find support in your local community as well. And so here is just a diagram that you can use to kind of put down things you want to accomplish in the month, but in no particular date. And then this drawing, I put this in here because we have software for this as well, but this is a rating yourself. If to the left is you at your worst, if to the right is you at your best, what level would you say you are on right now? And again, hopefully you realize that you're not alone in your journey, and that our goal is no matter where you rate yourself or kind of say where you think you are, is out of to help you maintain it or get above it or get to the next level. That's always a shared desire. I'm one of those people who believe that rising tides raise all boats, and you help people be at their best, and we all seem to win more often than we lose. All right, so now, and this is just another example of just trying to help people strategize and plan out their days and weeks. So this is a checklist for just kind of checking off what you need to do every week. And then this diagram is a unique diagram, what we call people I know. Who are the success partners in your life, male, female, or otherwise, that are in your life, and what role do they play, and what are they looking to do in your life. And so the people I know, and you're going to see here again in a second that we have all this as software. So this is part of that format. So you should be able to find we're forever growing our resources and relationships at kingstreets.com. Again, this was Vision Quest. There is an independent website for that, but you'll find more resources and everything under kingstreets.com. And this is actually a snapshot of the online software. And so when you get to at some point when you get to the website or get to the software, then you do have to register in. And when you register it, you can fill in all the printed information directly into it, and then all the other pages that I showed you, they're converted into software as well. Again, I'm Michael Fleming. I'm the founder and the kind of curator of the Kingstreets project and the Vision Quest and life mapping. If you're interested in working with us or partnering with us, or you need some more help or support, please don't hesitate to. It's probably easier to reach me by text, and so if you call, please leave a voicemail as well. But I'm easier to get by text, so you're more than welcome to reach out to me and contact me and let me know what you thought about this, or you can leave your comments wherever you happen to see this video, and we're gonna constantly try to make the process better and easier for everyone. And feel free to share this with others. The kind of the disclaimer behind this too is that it's free overall to the public, but if you're going to use it to generate revenue or profit or use it in your projects, please don't hesitate to reach out to us for to be able to get authority from us. And more often than not, we come with a collaborative spirit, so we're going to do everything we can to actually help you use it or to learn how to do this as a process. I'm more than open to coming out to doing workshops and classes myself, or we have someone on my team. There's quite a few people we've taught this life mapping process with. And so please like, share, all the resources that you find, and especially this video and the project, that some of the things that we're working on, and we'll do the same for you. So once again, Happy New Year. Absolutely wishing everyone the best in 2021. I know it's 2020 has been a little challenging for us, but let's try to make the most of everything we can, and we're absolutely dedicated to hoping to have everyone bring out the best in their lives. So wishing you the best. Take care, and thank you.